Coming right up, Straight Talk with Art Levine. Our guest tonight, Jim McDonnell, Chief of Police of the Long Beach Police Department, as we continue our 21st anniversary year.
Closed captioning provided by Scan Health Plan. Straight Talk is brought to you in part by Southern California Edison. For over 100 years, life powered by Edison. The Press-Telegram, your local news leader for over 100 years.
Join us for tonight's edition of Straight Talk. And now your host, Art Levine.
Good evening and welcome to Straight Talk. We have a great show for you tonight. Our guest for the entire show is the Chief of Police of the Long Beach Police Department, Jim McDonnell. Chief McDonnell, welcome back.
Thanks, Art. Good to be back.
Give us an update on the crime statistics this year. I know we've had some challenges.
Yeah, we certainly have, as have other jurisdictions around California and particularly across the nation. We've seen an uptick in gang crime. We've seen an uptick in Long Beach and homicide in particular. Property crime has been up fairly dramatically. Whenever I look at that, I see property crime particularly as something that we can impact as a community by working together and by being more vigilant as to what we leave visible, how easy we leave our homes and our vehicles to access by people who shouldn't have access. Little things make the big difference, and we constantly reach out to the community to try and ask them to help us do the job of keeping all of us safe.
Yeah, crime fighting, and we'll talk about this later, is really a community effort, not just the police department.
It's a team sport.
Team sport, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I know that for many years now, the crime figures each year have been very good. Reductions in crime year after year after year. But starting kind of around the beginning of this year, it spiked upwards, something that you actually publicly expressed concern about with what you call the perfect storm, realignment,
right,
a bad economy, and I forget what the third thing was.
The decreased number of officers.
Yeah, and the cutbacks in the officers, yeah.
Right.
And what you kind of sensed has come to pass, and
right,
crime, unfortunately, is on the uptick here and elsewhere.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's predictable. When you look at the trends over time, we finished up the year 2010 with 40-year lows across the board in both violent and property crime. We were very proud of that, but we could see what was coming down the road with continued budget cuts. We're down from our high of 1,020 officers budgeted to an actual number today of 809. So that's a significant 20% decrease. We've had to change our strategies, our crime fighting strategies, to be able to accommodate that loss in officers. And again, the reach out, I can't overstate the importance of the reach out to the community to be able to help us keep everybody safe.
And besides 2010, 2011 were good crime figures going down.
They were. We started to see, in some categories we went down in 11 as well, but we started to see that uptick, and we started to see the trending change. So I think, to put it in perspective, we're very concerned about the direction the crime is going. But when you look at where we are number-wise, coming up from 2010 with 40-year lows, over a period of 10 years or 20 years, to say comparatively how are we, we're still a very safe city.
But you accept the principle, and I know there's been dialogue in public on this with the budget restrictions that the city has faced, that more police officers does mean more safety, without question.
In my mind, I mean, there's an argument to be made that just more officers out there does not have a significant impact. I would argue with that if those officers are well supervised, well led, well trained, and well resourced, that makes all the difference in the world. I know that if we were able to go back to the number we had 3 years ago, we could turn that trend around again. And
we really could.
I believe we could, absolutely, right, absolutely.
I know one of the things that you have creatively employed, particularly in the face of these budget cutbacks, is technology.
Right.
Policing smarter, as you say, rather than just with boots on the ground. Of course, ideally you want both.
Right.
But one of the new technological advances is this LB thing. Tell us about that.
Right. Yeah, LB is just an acronym for Long Beach Common Operating Picture. At our communications center, which is a state-of-the-art center, We're very proud of what we have. We're co-located with the fire department. We took a piece of that property.
And that's where the 911 calls go in.
That's correct, yes. We took a piece of that property that's directly adjacent to our police dispatch, and we turned it into this Long Beach Common Operating Picture, where we get camera feeds from all over the city into a wall of monitors. And as a call comes in, a dispatcher will have the ability to reach out to the Long Beach cop staff, which would be an officer, an analyst, and a dispatcher once we're fully deployed, and to be able then to start doing a drill down. First of all, to pull up the camera that's closest to the call in question and start to see in real time what's going on there, to relay that to the officers during their response to that call, but then also to be able to use some analytics to dig down into what do we have when we get there. What's happened previously at that address, that property, the area surrounding that. If we have a vehicle license, tell us about who owns the vehicle, what's the history on that. And then if we can dig further into it, on the registered owner of that, what do we know about them? That gives us a tremendous amount of information to be able to provide the officers in the field, so they would likely know that if the vehicle leaves the scene, what's the direction of travel, where are they likely headed back to, probably their home address. So all of these are additional tools that makes the officers in the field more efficient, more effective, and provides a greater level of officer safety as well.
And the city of Long Beach has cameras in public places in certain appropriate areas that are available to you.
Right.
But now, in addition, private businesses that have their own internal security cameras can mate and join this. Tell us about that.
Yeah, the beauty of this, I mean, in the economic times we're in, we don't have the ability to be able to hardline cameras from around the city into a command post. But what we do have, with the benefit of the internet, is to be able to capture the IP address for through the internet for businesses or residences out there, so that they join this partnership we have, so that we have access to their cameras. If they have pan-tilt zoom cameras, we have the ability then, with their permission, to be able to go into their system and remotely maneuver the camera to be able to see what it is we need to see on their property. It's a tremendous tool for us, but it's a tremendous benefit to the individual, because they're getting value beyond what they would normally get from just being able to view it themselves.
So if you're a private business owner and you have internal security cameras, call up the Long Beach Police Department, and at no cost to you, you can join your cameras and make them part of this technology. So if there's an incident at your address, the police can perhaps see who the culprit is and gain a quicker response.
In addition to the ability to be able to have a picture of what's happening to the responding officers, it also gives us the ability, after the fact, to be able to pull it up for identification of the suspects, vehicle licenses, vehicle descriptions, but also to use that then not only for apprehension but for prosecution. By having a video of the crime, the prosecution costs are cut dramatically. In all likelihood, you'll get a cop-out rather than having to go through a lengthy and expensive trial process.
Great. Okay, in the next segment, we'll be talking about the recent report of the LA County Commission on Violence in the Jails. The chief was a member of that commission, and we'll get an update from him. We'll be right back after these messages.
Supported by Edison International. Californians are getting to be old hands at year-round energy conservation, part of our special awareness of the resources we all depend on. We're making the change to energy-efficient light bulbs, keeping warm weather thermostats set to a comfortable 78 degrees, and giving major appliances the afternoon off. Because when it comes to energy conservation, it all adds up. Life, powered by Edison.
In today's world, everything's connected. From the workplaces that support us, to the homes that welcome us, to the trees and wildlife habitats that remind us how important our environment is. When a bird lands on a branch, and in the midst of a busy day, we stop to watch, it makes us realize we're all in the same boat. The Port of Long Beach welcomes this world with open arms, an environmental policy that's second to none, and a commitment to shaping a vibrant community. The Port of Long Beach, thinking outside the docks.
Hello, I'm Jessica Hardy, a proud Long Beach native and a member of the USA Swimming national team. Having spent much of my life in water, I've developed a deep appreciation for the valuable role that this precious resource plays in our lives. In recent years, California's water supply has become unreliable. To address this reality, Long Beach residents have dramatically reduced their water use through permanent lifestyle changes. In doing so, Long Beach has made itself a leader in water conservation. As I work hard to achieve my personal goal of qualifying for the 2012 Summer Olympics, I encourage you to continue your tremendous efforts to use water in smart and responsible ways. So join me and your fellow Long Beach residents in strengthening the water conservation movement. By making small but significant changes in our water use habits, together we can ensure that we have a reliable water supply for many generations to come.